Hey YouTube, this is Steve from Average Joe's Fantasy Football, and welcome back to the channel. We've got another mock draft video for you guys to help out with your redraft season that is coming probably sooner than you are probably prepared for. So hopefully these videos help you guys out. So let's jump right into it. In the 11th spot of a 12-team full PPR league. Now, of course, if you guys haven't already, make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel, hit that like button as well, and of course, check out all my other content I've got out there for mock drafts and players that I'm looking at you should be drafting. And of course, I'll be dropping in some players that you should be avoiding this upcoming season to really help you out, because we are grinding and getting ready for redraft season. The NFL season is 3 weeks away. I'm super excited, and I'm sure you guys are as well. So let's see how this kind of draft goes, and I'll give you some analysis of why I went certain ways. Now, in the 11th spot, this is my strategy. I will typically recommend going wide receiver and then possibly running back in that particular point. Now, if I was earlier into the round, I would absolutely go running back. But depending what's available, usually a wide receiver is probably where you're going to go in the 11th, and you can obviously get a running back in the second round. I still like the strategy of getting at least one running back in the first 2 rounds. Yes, there are hero running back strategies where you get to. There are hero wide receiver strategies as well. But typically 1-and-1 is a great way to get started, especially in the 11th spot. Now, looking at the 11th spot here, I've got players like Genty, I've got Collins, Achan, Nakua, some really good options here. And of all those options here, the one I probably would end up going is going to be Nico Collins. I think Nico Collins is set up to have some great success. I think the Texans offense is going to get even better. They do have some offensive line struggles, and that's a big concern. But I think Stroud will continue to get better. I like the receiving core that they've done. They've went and drafted. They've got some good players there. They went and got Christian Kirk, for example. But Collins has done a really good job showing up. And again, getting him and then a running back in the second round is probably the best way to go about that. And with that, I'm going to go with Devon Achane. Achane is a great option as my running back 1. Yeah, I get that this whole Dolphins offense is really kind of scary right now. No one knows how it's going to be. I think McDaniels has probably lost some of his spark. But I think still he's a big offensive player that he's going to get plenty of touches, whether it be on the ground, whether it be in the air. He's going to get red zone opportunities. I like Achane a lot. So again, pairing up Nico Collins with Achane is in a perfect world. Now you obviously, again, see a lot of the quarterbacks start to go. Your Josh Allen's, your Lamar's, your Hurts, those players are going to start going pretty early. You see a couple tight ends like Bowers and McBride. Now, my strategy with tight ends, you could probably get a really, really good tight end, probably even a top 5 to 8 tight end a lot later, and I'd rather stack up in players like running back and wide receiver. Unless this is a tight end premium league, which we are not talking about, that strategy, again, would change. Now, looking at the options here, I can go running back again, like in James Cook, who just got a big signed contract, or go wide receiver. Maybe I do get a tight end like George Kittle or something like that. In my case, I'm actually going to go wide receiver here. I'm going to get Marvin Harrison as my second wide receiver just to pair up with, Nico Collins. I want to get some 2 good wideouts there. And then obviously in the next aspect, I am going to get a running back, because I do believe the running back position is so important. You want to at least shore up your starting wide receivers and starting running backs. Now, there are, of course, different formats throughout almost every type of league. I've seen 3 wide receivers. I've seen multiple flex. I've seen all kinds of different ways. So, of course, these strategies will change a little bit depending on how you are drafting. But again, the reason why I mentioned these players and why is going to be, again, a strategy that is pretty universal across the board except for certain ones. Now, a lot of you guys see, obviously, the ADP will put James Cook here, but I'm not going to go James Cook. I'm actually going to go Kenneth Walker as my second running back. I like him as a better and more pure runner than James Cook. James Cook, yes, he got the big contract, which is great news for him, but nothing super, super big. And honestly, if you look at his touchdowns that he had last season, that really helped him really blow up in the fantasy space. I don't see him doing anywhere near that. Could he still have a great season? Absolutely. But for me, I'd rather grab Kenneth Walker, and I know people are going to put in the comments, hey, Kenneth Walker's been hurt a lot and things like that. Look, I'm not going to jump on that narrative. I do believe Kenneth Walker has had some issues staying healthy. Obviously, you got Charbonnet, which you can always pair up later on if you want. But for me, again, Kenneth Walker is a really good back, and I'd rather have him, especially in that offense, because I think things are going to change. I think Ray Davis is going to get a bigger part. Even though there's Charbonnet there, I still think Ray Davis is going to get a bigger part as well in the Bills. So Now, looking at this, I've got tight end, I've got flex, I got bench, I got, obviously quarterback. I'm not going to go quarterback again. Again, it's a good strategy if you really want a good, top quarterback. You could always go this early, the round 3 to 5 rounds. You want to probably get there. But for me, I'm actually going to get another running back in Travion Henderson. I want to short my flex plus backup just in case. You never know with injuries and things like that. Because yes, running backs obviously have that ability. They tend to get banged up throughout the whole season. So I want to get Henderson because I thought he was a really good option. Now, you always have that fear of what if the 12th team is going to go running back as well. Now, you have to look at how your teammates are doing. Like, for example, in the computer model here, you got Team 9 taking every wide receiver they possibly can. Most leagues are not going to do that. So you probably have some of these wide receivers possibly available to you, but in this case, they are not. And so going off the strategy, you want to get the best player available when it happens. Even if it's a position you've already got maybe 2 or 3 of them, you still want to try to get the best possible player. And looking at the options here, you can obviously look at some players like Jalen Waddle, who I really like. Travis Hunter, maybe he's got really good value depending on your scoring. And you got Xavier Worthy with Rashee Rice, who knows what's going to happen. Yeah, he's possibly playing in the first half and then gets suspended. Who knows what happens after that? But in this case, looking at all the options here, I like Travis Hunter a lot, but I'm going to go Jalen Waddle. I like that this offense is probably going to be forced to pass. The Dolphins defense has some work to do, and I think it's going to be, again, a show for Tua to really kind of show up. He's got a great rapport with Waddle. There's obviously some kind of weird clickness between going, Tyreek Hill and, Tua. There's a lot kind of behind the scenes. So I like Waddle there. I like his option. Again, being my third wide receiver, I don't hate that move at all. So I've got a few more rounds, 4 more bench, got tight end, quarterback. And looking at what you're seeing here, and this is always, of course, based by ADP. You will always make and adjust your own ADP depending on how you feel about particular players. Now, looking at the players here, let's just look at this list here. Jacoby Myers is a great option. I like the idea of Tyrone Tracy if you need a running back. Maybe you want to get to the tight end position. And Njoku, Warren, both are great options. Maybe Travis Etienne. You don't really know how this offense is going to play out for the for the Jacksonville Jaguars with their new offensive coordinator / head coach. So get really good options. I'm going to go wide receiver again and get Jacoby Myers because I really like him in the Vegas Raiders. I have talked about Jacoby Myers before in other videos. He's got a lot of targets his way and really good options there. Now I am going to go and grab a tight end. I'm going to take the risk on grabbing the rookie in Tyler Warren. So far in the preseason, there's a lot of quarterback situation going on. You got Richardson and Daniel Jones. Who knows who ends up being the quarterback? But so far in the preseason, Tyler Warren's getting plenty of targets his way, and I really like what I'm seeing so far. And I at least want to shore up a really good option. He's going to get, I think, a lot of opportunities. Yes, they've got some good receivers. A.D. Mitchell, you've got Michael Pittman, you got Josh Downs, you got Alec Pierce. I mean, there's a lot of great options. So, there's a lot to kind of worry about when it comes to the targets. But so far, right now, I like where Warren's at. I think he's going to have plenty of options his way. Now I've got three more benches. I've got my quarterback to fill, and looking at the quarterback options still, I've got Purdy and Prescott and Stroud and some really good options. But I'm actually going to fill up other positions. And looking at where I'm at right now, I want to get another running back, and I'm going to get Javonte Williams. I could have paired up Charbonnet, which is a really good option as well if you want to handcuff your starting back like Kenneth Walker if you're concerned with that. But I actually ended up getting Javonte Williams only because I do really believe Javonte Williams could end up being a pretty good running back going forward for the Dallas Cowboys. Yes, there hasn't been a lot shown so far in the preseason. We're not really sure how the Dallas Cowboys offense is really going to be with Brian Schottenheimer, but he does seem to be really heavy towards the running back position and running the ball. And right now, Javonte Williams looks so far really good in camp. I am going to get my quarterback here because I don't want to risk it. I've always talked about Dak Prescott. He's probably one of the better players, but I'm actually going to pair up CJ Stroud with Nico Collins as a nice little stack. So a lot of players, a lot of league mates will do that. They'll stack their quarterback with their wide receiver. And it's fun to watch. You see your quarterback throw a touchdown and then your receiver as well. I mean, man, those points just piling up is awesome. I'm not always going to be a proponent of that strategy. You don't always have to go that route. Don't get me wrong. But I like that strategy there because, again, I do believe in CJ Stroud going forward. I'm not as high as I was before only because of the offensive line. I really worry about it. It is going to be probably the one concern that I have going forward. But with that said, I like the stack of having him and Nico Collins. Now, I've got my kicker and defense, and then, of course, got to get your bench, right? You could go early and get your kicker and defense early if you want. And obviously you can see a lot of the defenses started going, so you may have to pull that trigger. Or you could go kicker as well. You saw obviously Aubrey already off the board. He's the best kicker in this one. And because of where the strategy and everyone's starting to go, I will grab a defense here and grab the Philadelphia Eagles. Really good defense last year. They obviously added even more talent. I really like the way they were playing. Even as a Cowboy fan, I hate to see it, but they are playing really well and a really good defense. I'm not going to get a kicker because, again, you can kind of play those out. So looking at positions, you've got in running back, you've got Tajay Spears, you got Bigsby, Rashad White, some really good options there. When you look at the wide receiver spot, you got Rashid Shaheed, Trey Harris, who looks really good so far in the preseason, Rashad Bateman, who I really like, some really good options here. I'm actually going to end up getting Trey Harris because I think, again, so far he looks really good. Yes, the Chargers signed Keenan Allen, and I do think Keenan Allen's going to absolutely start to have that connection again back with Justin Herbert. Opposite of Vlad McConkey. But again, I think this offense could possibly use and see plenty of targets towards Trey Harris. So I really like him there. Now, you saw a lot of the kickers go, which again, you're going to see that in some leagues, and you may have to pull that trigger a little bit early. I tend to typically get my kicker last round or so. I'm going to hold off just a little bit more because I want to get one more, depth piece. I'm not a big proponent of an extra tight end. Looking at what you got options here, if you do want to go that strategy, you got Likely, you got Strange, who looks really good so far. Maybe even like Cade Otton, again, looks really good. I'm actually going to go running back again just to get a little bit extra piece. And of the running backs here, you got Austin Eckler, Trey Benson, some really good options. Ray Davis, who I mentioned earlier. I really like that running back, but I'm going to go Braylon Allen. We're not really sure what the Jets are going to do. There's a lot of talks of them really utilizing both running backs, Allen and Breece Hall. There is a chance that Breece Hall gets traded, who knows, and then Braylon Allen steps up. But in this case, it's, again, worth the risk. I'm not spending a lot to get him, and I'll grab him there. And then I'm going to get my kicker here, and I'm going to get Tyler Bass, just because, again, Buffalo Bills offense can get down the field. There are going to be a lot of good plus opportunities beyond the 50 to get field goals, get extra points, things like that. So, again, you want to get a kicker in a really good offense. So that's my draft for the 11th spot of a 12-team league. Let's talk about it. All right, so that is the mock draft I had for the 11th spot of a 12-team league. If you guys do have other maybe particular strategies you're looking about or talking about, hit me up in the comments down below. If maybe you're in a dual QB, Superflex, Titan Premium, let me know in the comments. I'd love to kind of do some videos for you guys as well to get you some mock drafts to kind of at least see where players are going, give you my analysis of why I'm picking, particular players. Maybe I'm starting to avoid certain players. And again, stay tuned because I will be dropping some players I'm avoiding, and I will be giving a video, of course, of how I believe the first round should go in your draft, just to kind of help you guys out. Because again, we are 3 weeks away. Most people are starting to get their drafts probably coming up in the weekend or two from now. We got one more week of preseason, which again, most people probably wait for just for injuries and cuts and things like that. And then obviously start doing those drafts. So again, check out all the other videos I've got going on there. If you have any Dynasty questions as well, hit me down below, subscribe and like, and I'll check you guys out next time.